Hello, welcome to the Halcyon Rays review. I'm your host, Lazily. Or rather, Halcyon Rays a preview of a film that's gonna suck no matter what happens, but unique to this film, potentially it could suck and yet still be amazing. But how's that possible? Well, unique to Power Rangers as opposed to any other franchise in the entire world, if we're honest with ourselves, the original Power Rangers television show was, by its very nature, a torrent of corny teen dialogue, terrible makeup, absolutely useless, pointless explosions directly behind anything in front of camera. Which was hilarious at times because it just meant that anytime any Power Ranger was walking towards something, you genuinely feared for what was behind it because you just were aware that it was a sea of a Michael Bay level orgy of explosions and fireworks. And not to mention the fact that you've got an American television show that was made predominantly using Japanese footage that was sold to them by Saban or whatever they're called, but it's interspliced with their American counterparts, which meant that oftentimes parts of the footage wouldn't match up with how the costumes of the new cast presented themselves. The key, I can't have been the only one that noticed this, Tommy's sort of chest plate guard thing would occasionally go from solid to foam in the same episode.
She wants that pleasure to be mine, and has ordered me personally to see to his end.
A few moments later.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
Ridiculous oversight on the part of the producers, but what are you going to do? And not to mention the fact that the original show had such a lack of self-awareness that it decided to inexplicably class the Black Ranger as the black guy, the Pink Ranger as the high school chick, the Yellow Ranger as the Chinese girl, and also had a later series of the Ninja Rangers where they had sort of material garb which was all one colour, but by that point they had a White Ranger. So from here, and then everywhere down, it gave the startling resemblance of a KKK costume, which, again, lack of self-awareness. They don't see colour, which is great, but perhaps just a bit more self-awareness next time might be the better thing to look for. And yet, despite these potentially series-killing flaws, the nostalgia pull of this show makes it still, to this day, one of the jewels of my and a lot of other kids who've now grown up into 20-something adults with still that glimmer of, yeah, but it was good. I watched a preview of some of the old episodes the other day and genuinely brought a tear to my eye because of man, it was good. It was terrible, but it was good. It's hard not to when you're watching full-grown men and women in giant costumes literally doing the Godzilla jump where, like, How anyone thought, we as kids were dumb. We were so dumb, but god damn if it wasn't amazing. Just for the nondescript who've never seen an episode of this, let me just break it down for you why us kids originally thought it was cool. Epic intro, bright colours, awesome outfits, superpowers, which weren't obvious, but they had super strength and speed and all the rest of it. Giant transforming robots.
Sequence has been initiated.
and most importantly of all, a sweet theme song. Go, go, Power Rangers! In fact, when I showed the theme to a friend of mine a few years earlier, when I'd rediscovered the series after a long time of kind of pushing it to the recesses of my mind, I put the earphones in his ear, played the start of the song, and he thought it was immediately thrash metal. And when you listen to the song back, it is kind of like da-da-dun-da-dun. It's just got a heavy It's because it's getting you pumped, ready for the show, man. If you can't tell already, I'm a massive fan of the series. Why? Just it spoke to everything in my childhood, and most importantly of all, maybe even more than the theme song, was the sweet merch. Sweet, sweet Power Ranger merch, baby. Now, of course, as we grew up, we had to get over this. I mean, it's ridiculous to think that we could keep on and on with the nostalgia and never move on with But anyway, coming back to the original point, the new release of the film, which worries me incredibly because, like I say, I worry that it's going to suck, but not for all the right reasons. So, let's ask the question. Can it appeal to a new audience? Or can it somehow revive the nostalgia of the previous series enough that old people like me can get invested in the film and just go, look at that, that's so cool. Well, let's find out. Here's the Halcyon Razor preview of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers film of 2017. Oh, and for the purposes of the rest of the review, I will be holding this and playing it intermittently because I waited 20 years to pick this up. So let's start with the most important thing about this film and what's going to set it up for the rest of time once it's released. The premise. The premise of the film itself is 5 teens with attitude are inexplicably brought together by coincidence or destiny to become the newest generation in a line of warriors known as the Power Rangers. The world rests in their hands as Rita Repulsa, a powerful witch and former Power Ranger, launches an assault seeking the Zeo crystal with an army of stone golems called putties and a giant golden monster called Goldar. Now, what this means is that the film will effectively be an amalgamation of the first 3 iterations of the Power Rangers with nods and Easter eggs to later installments such as Zeo and Turbo as given by the crystal name. The problem lies in the fact that it looks like Tommy isn't going to be part of the mix, and he is one of the series' most popular characters in a stable, if I may say so. Even if I am firmly in Camp Jason for life, for God's sake, he beat Tommy one-on-one and still didn't get to be the leader when Tommy came back! And removing him means that you're losing something that made the series stand out, although I will guarantee a cameo from Jason David Frank, considering his fondness for the series, and in particular the character of Tommy Oliver, evidenced by his recent appearances in the IGN skits and other short films where he retakes the character as the Green Ranger. I fear the whole film will take itself too seriously and therefore will not translate into a good film. Worse, it will not be a nostalgic ride for the fans of the original series. The only way they have to go is to go all out and make the film as either dramatically well received as possible, meaning that they lose the nostalgic aspect of the original series, or as close to the Marvel films as possible, highlighting the humour and the very small raw moments of humanity that make those films great. Both of which, weirdly enough, don't coincide with the lore of Power Rangers. So, in a sense, it's a lose-lose situation, but for nothing else, the nostalgic value will rise when you see the modern day iterations of such things as the Zords, the Suits, Alpha, and the Ranger Center itself. Well, with that particular slog out of the way, let's look at the cast of the film to see if that might give us any pick-me-ups of any sort. The cast is a veritable who's who of I don't know who that is, with Dacre Montgomery playing Jason Scott, Naomi Scott playing Kimberly Hart, that's confusing, RJ Kyler or Sylar as Billy Cranston, Becky G as Trini, and Ludi Lin as Zack, the Black Ranger. Interestingly enough though, Bill Hader is going to be the voice of Alpha 5 along with Bryan Cranston as Zordon, and this is something that I didn't know originally. Bryan Cranston voiced a lot of the original monsters in the original series, so it's kind of like a little teeny tiny Easter egg nod to that, which is kind of cool. Elizabeth Banks is going to be Rita Repulsa, and again this is the character that's probably going to polarise most opinion, considering that yes, apparently, she used to be a Ranger. I'm betting green. It's just a weird situation for Rita to be in. I guess it gives them, you know, that relationship there where they don't have to be battling for centuries. There's a relationship of sorts there, but again, that kind of feels forced. In terms of the cast, it's unspectacular, albeit when I originally heard rumours of the film come out, I remember they were talking about people such as Zac Efron for the Red Ranger, Taylor Lautner for the Black Ranger, the guy who played Malfoy in Harry Potter as the Blue Ranger. Just these weird, over-the-top, high-caliber acting talent that really didn't warrant being in the film. But still, on the whole, the character cast is ambiguous enough that they can potentially start a career on this film if it turns out being great. And so we come to the verdict. So, to answer my original question, will it suck? Yes! Yes, it will. But will it be a nostalgic romp for older fans of the series like me? No. No, it will not. But will I still go to see it, proudly proclaiming that I'm a Power Rangers fan through and through? Yeah, I will. Why? Because now, after 20 years, it's finally cool to have these out in the open again. Go, go, Power Rangers! Ah, but another.
Totally lame.
But, okay, I'm going to give it a clean slate, but like I say, in my points made previously, I just fear that they're going to either go too serious with this or not nostalgic enough. The thing with the rip-off version on YouTube is that it had just enough of the nostalgic name drops, but it took the series in a whole new direction of violence, gore, sexuality and stuff, which made you feel like a grown-up Power Rangers fan. That's, while vulnerable because it's destroying your childhood visions of these characters, also when this is kind of badass, I can get invested in this, and I just worry that that film is going to be what this film should have been an extended version of, which is, this film is probably going to ride that line between being too PG, but not PG enough. If you're going to take it PG, go all the way PG. Make sure all the characters don't walk away with no blood, there's no deaths, there's no swearing, no nothing. It's literally as Disneyfied as you can, but with explosions. Without that, I worry for the film, I really do. So, on that note, thanks very much for watching. I'm going to go retire and pray to the Almighty that this film is not another tween flick crying to my pillow as I realise I pray in futility. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe or dislike. I'm now on VidMe, so feel free to go check me out over there. Same videos, just different website if you don't like YouTube anymore for whatever reason. Also, on this channel, let me know in your comments below, what is your most nostalgic thing of all time? I'm interested. I want to start getting my comment section more involved. I reply to every single one of my comments, so I would invite you to get involved if you can. Let me know. Was it Postman Pat? Was it the Teletubbies? Was it He-Man or the Hulk or one of the Spider-Man cartoons? Who knows? But let me know what nostalgic thing brings a tear to your eye whenever you see it, and it reminds you of all those sweet times as a child that you genuinely believed you could become a superhero. 20 years I've been waiting to do that. 20 years. In the meantime, please go and check out some of the other channels that I've referenced below. I'll put links to them in the description. They're just other YouTubers like me, smaller channels, but still producing great content, and I believe deserve your support and acceptance. So please go check them out. In the meantime, please stay tuned, take care, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.